I didn't get into anything. I just kind of, that was just a preview. All right, these are all of my ways you can connect with me, akimel.com. That's most of you got on that. Instagram, my YouTube, Facebook. It's a couple of more TikTok, and I didn't put them all in. And this is the newest website, mykoya.org. That's where all of the ministry stuff is. Go check that out. I actually got a program coming out, spirituality program coming out, but it's so extensive. It's taking a little bit longer to get it finished, but it's going to be finished soon. So what we're doing here, I call it kingdom building. You know, you're building your kingdom, you're building your church. If you're here and you have a problem with religious terms or anything with religion, I'm sorry. As long as you stay here, you're going to have a problem with it because that's how I roll. And I roll like that because the Constitution says no one can abridge my religious freedoms, no one can question it, and it protects me. So that means that your payment to me today is considered a donation, and you can write that off on your taxes. And you'll see when I go through these slides, you'll see the EIN number you can use to get a credit on it. So anything you pay this ministry, you get the write off. Okay. But pretty much you can write off anything. Anybody you pay, a lot of the small bills that you guys are paying, you can write those things off. You just didn't know. And the only reason why you can't write it off because you're using their number, which is the Social Security number, the number they created for their benefit and made you the holder of it, but not the controller. You see, you're just holding their legal fiction and continue to make money off of it. So they let you keep, let's just say taxes. They let you keep roughly 70% of your earnings from that. That's your payment for controlling that entity, and they take the other 30%. Sometimes if you get bonuses, they're going to take almost 50%. So you got your regular pay, but if you get a bonus, say $5,000, they're going to take $2,500 or almost half of that right off the top. That's the deal you enter with the devil when you sign up. That's why I don't advocate people who have jobs. I don't really support that because it doesn't give you real freedom. One thing, you have to go to work, you have to clock in, you have to go on vacations when they say you can only live in a certain place based on the income that they pay you. And then on top of that, they take portions of it right before you get paid. And then you got to go to the store and pay taxes everywhere you go. So basically, when you really look at your check, you're getting taxed probably double, triple, quadruple times because you got taxed on that money you earned. Then you go to the store, you buy gas, there's the tax there. You buy something, there's a tax there. So you really don't get to use your money. But if you're in business for yourself and people just write you straight, like with you guys paid what, 197? That came straight to the ministry. Now, there are some fees that I pay for, them transacting the credit card payments. 1%. It's not that much, but my money comes to me. Then because I'm a church entity, I'm exempt from filing anything. So, and I'm going to help you realize how to set yourself up. And if some people have a problem, well, it's using religion as a form of not paying taxes. Okay, what's the problem with that? You see everybody else is doing it, all these other big churches. How come you can't do it? Well, it's playing with God. How is it playing with God? Playing with God is if you claim to be something and you don't live up to those ideologies, but your finances should be connected to God. Actually, that's the way you're supposed to do, not the way we've been doing it. We've been connected. We've connected to the church of government. I do realize that that's a church, right? That's a religious entity. Everything they do Do you really know yourself? I can put money that most of us really don't know ourselves. We think we know. Because for the most part, we're operating on a lot of pre programmed information that has hardwired us into making us who we are today. And if you want to be someone new, someone you feel good about, that you can be proud of, you're going to have to let go of the old self and realize that you have been programmed to believe in a false you, the egoic you. You're going to have to believe that in order to change it. See, once you believe and know that you can be something different, you'll be different. In that moment, you were different in that moment with the thought. Now, the thing is holding on to the thought and the belief, maintaining it. Majority of the folks out there in these 9 to 5 situations are forever marching towards an endless life of constant demotivation, a constant exasperated existence about, I can't wait till it's Friday, or I can't wait till it's my day off, or I can't wait until I get off work, or I can't wait until I can take my vacation, I can't wait until I take my break. You see all of these things that you can't wait for? It leaves you yearning for a break all the time. It leaves you empty. You know how you go on vacation for a week and come back to work and it's like you gotta get back in the groove. Why? Because you in a place you really only there because you feel it's the responsible thing to do so I can take care of my bills and my family. That's the excuse we give ourselves. Keep that ain't no excuse. It's real. It's real out here. It's hard out here. Yes, it is hard for you because you said that. Because you in your mind believe that it's hard. Yes, you're right. I agree. Anything negative you say about your situation, I'm going to agree with you that you're right. For you, not for me, not for everybody else, but for you, you're right. I'm not going to argue with you. Yeah, you're right. It's hard. Hard to make money? Yes, it's right. For you, I'm not going to argue. See, it used to be a time where I tried to reverse that thinking of people. But I found it more effective than agree with him. Said what it says, agree with your adversary quickly and get the hell on out of there. Get away from him. Because it's not the adversary, the person, but the thinking is adversarial. Because when someone is constantly talking about how bad their situation is, then you gotta let them have it. They're right. I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm never gonna disagree when you say your situation is bad. Because it is. Because you are the orchestrator. You are having dominion over your life and your situation, and anything you say or do, it's right for you, for your situation. Now, if you want that situation you said is hard and this, you have to start to think a new thought. You have to think it's not hard. It really isn't hard. I'm interpreting this as hard. I'm saying this is hard. I'm calling this out as being hard. Anything you having difficulty in is because you in agreement with the difficult situation. You have agreed that to yourself and convinced yourself that it's difficult. Yo, oh, hold on. Get my mic muted. You know, I ain't done the show in a couple of weeks. I've been, I went and officiated a wedding a couple of weeks ago. Had a great time. A good, one of the best times I've had in a very long time. And then got back. I got back on Wednesday. Saturday, early morning, about 4:30, I suffered a crisis. That's why I didn't do a show Sunday, Tuesday, this past week. I didn't do any shows. I thought about doing it, but I said, let me just recover fully and I'll do the show on Sunday. But yeah, I suffered a major life-changing event. So I woke up about 4:30-ish in the morning. I mean, about 4, it was my usual time, and I felt kind of like as if I had just did a light workout, like I was breathing heavy. So I said, man, maybe you're a little dehydrated. And I got up and to get a glass of water. Usually when I get up, I do not drink cold water, but the water that was sitting on the counter, I thought it was room temperature because I usually pour myself a glass of water, but it actually was very cold for some reason. And that made my symptoms 10 times. Like it just, and I didn't feel any pain or anything, but I just felt like like you're watching a movie and it's going out like this, like going dark. And then I felt this strong sense to use the restroom. So I headed towards the restroom, but as I was going, it's like, bro, you're not making it there. And then I said, well, I stopped, grabbed the wall, and almost passed out. I just kind of laid down, and then I felt my strength come back to me after a few, I don't know how long it was. It seemed like a few seconds. It could have been longer. I got up and headed to my couch and sat down. And but at this point I felt strong, but I just didn't have, like, I had this nagging ache in my back. It wasn't painful, it just felt like an ache, like if you worked out and that muscle was sore. And it just wouldn't go away and I couldn't get comfortable. So I just thought I could tough it out, just to kind of fast forward it. I fast forwarded about 5 hours later, just skipping over all of the other small details. And I said, well, y'all know how I feel about the medical industry and just dealing with them folks over there. So about 10:30, my daughter comes in the room. Do you want me to call um the the neighbor, one of the neighbors to take you to the hospital? So I said, sure. So good neighbor of mine's admit came and I don't know what's going on with my thing here. What happened? Can you guys see me? Why is my hang on, let me get my camera back here. All right, there we go. All right. So he came, took me right as I was getting out the car. I had drank another glass of water. Oh, but I forgot to tell you. I felt like I never had a heart attack before, but I was just had all the classic symptoms. So I just took a glass of cayenne pepper. I got a glass of water. I was able to do that and put about, I don't know how much I put. I just dumped whatever in there and just chugged that back, and that my symptoms subsided almost immediately. And I I went and laid down. Then fast forwarded, my daughter said, you want me to call one of the neighbors? And I said yes. So my neighbor, um Amit, he came and took me to the hospital. I went into the emergency room, told them what was going on. They took me back immediately. Within about an hour, hour and a half, they said, "Oh, your troponin levels is elevated slightly." It said it was about 500. So that means something, your heart has suffered some type of stress. And said, "We're gonna keep you." I was like, "What?" Much as I try to eat right and do everything right, not that I don't eat junk food from time to time, but I don't drink sodas. My main source of hydration is water or fruit water. That's what I've been doing for years. So I couldn't believe it. So they kept me. And then on that Monday, they wanted to do this thing called heart cath, which is an invasive procedure where they could go through your wrist, go into your heart, take a picture of some things to see if there's some blockages. And I told my mom. My mom said, "No, don't let them do that. Do what you call a CT calcium score. That can give them the same information without the invasiveness." So I was struggling with them about that, and they said, "No, if we do this one, if we find the blockages, we can fix it right then and there." So I said, "Okay, we'll do that." So they did that, found some blockages. That's they said there was some blockages. and they didn't fix it. So I was like, okay. The whole purpose of me even going with this was for you to fix it. Well, what they wanted to do was, well, you could do this. We could fix the blockages through stents, or we can open your chest up, sew it open, and do what you call bypass surgery. I was like, no. I said, y'all could have did that while I was on that table before, but it seems like y'all trying to upsell me now to this more expensive procedure, and it's gonna put me out for months. I was like, no. And I did some research on them, the benefits between the bypass surgery and the other stuff was like 2 to 3 percentage points. I said, listen, 2 to 3 percentage points is not enough for me to allow you to crack my chest open. Period. Let's do the stents. And this procedure that they do, I was wide awake. I could when they did the checking, found the blockages. Then when they went to actually do it, I was wide awake. But I was kind of sedated, well, like in a relaxed state. And by Wednesday, I was out of the hospital. Now I fast forwarded and I skipped some small details because they're kind of personal, and I don't want to get into all of that. But you could imagine the state of mind I was in. Like, okay, I already know that this is the number 3 killer of of people in this country. But here I am in their hands. I know this. But at the same time, I needed that because trust me, I avoided. I just could not recover on my own. Like there was a time where in that episode that I didn't mention that I tried to get up out of the bed and I said, okay, I really need 911 and tried the 911. I got 911 out and was not able to press send. And I just laid down and woke up and my daughter was able to. I could say I laid down and went to sleep, but the reason why I say I went to sleep because every time I went out, I was having visions of things. Like I was totally conscious, but in another dimension, I would say, of events happening and seeing things. So I don't know. Was I unconscious? I said I was sleeping, but or people would call it a dream. But every time I went out, I was like having these lucid visions of different things. So, and then even when I was in the hospital, I was having those same things. So it's caused me to make some decisions, some big decisions. It really has. So that's why I didn't do a show over there. So I had they say I had a heart attack. I really don't I still don't believe that I had a heart attack. I don't know if that's just me just trying to deny it, but I feel like it was something else like super dehydration because I know that day I didn't drink a whole lot of water and over the last couple of days after flying in, I didn't hydrate myself very well. And I didn't have like people say they have a heart attack, they have this heaviness in the chest. I didn't have any of those. Of pain. It felt like I was just going to sleep. That's exactly what it felt like. Other than that naked agony pain after I became conscious, I didn't have something. Oh, and just no. It was just like you're going to sleep. That's and I couldn't. You know how you can control whether you want to lay down or not. I just couldn't control that part. That's exactly how it felt. It was totally to me painless. And when I was telling them that, they was like, they were scratching their heads. And then all of my blood pressure, my heart rate, they did EKGs, all of those was above normal. Every last test they did, other than those troponin levels, was from a guy my age, was above normal. Meaning when I say above normal, I was of optimum health. And it was like, man, you overall happy. But he said this could happen to anybody. This is not diet. That's basically what he said. But I'm going to relook at that too. Before I finish, hey, I know it's only 7 people on here. I should have 7 likes. Y'all don't like it? Okay, I get it. But yeah, appreciate if y'all hit the like because it brings more people to the channel. Um, so it had me re-looking at things. I always talk about being positive, staying positive. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it was very hard for me to stay positive because a lot of personal things was happening in between it that was causing me to look at things in a negative way. And, you know, but we won't go into those details. But it was work to stay positive in that environment. But overall, I have to say I'm thankful that I'm alive, number one. And everything else is not a big deal. That's why the title of this show is called Chaos is Necessary, because through chaos, you can see the truth. Everything else don't matter. What people say to you, what they do to you, it don't matter. It's not a big deal. What is a big deal is how you see yourself, who you are. What is your mission? What are you here to do? That's more important than what people are saying and doing, what people are supposed to do that they don't do. It don't even matter. And to some of you, this might sound weird. I'm thankful I had the heart attack if that's what it was. I'm thankful for because it really refocused me. Some people will get sick and they just, oh, I'm sick. Oh my God, I'm dying. All this nonsense. Me, it woke me up. They were telling me, oh, you need to relax. You need to do this. Don't do any strenuous exercise. Man, please. I'm going to do exercise 5 times harder than I did before. It ain't going to take me out. I'm going to tell you why it's not going to, because I don't believe it does. Only reason why it'll take me out is because if I believe what they telling me. See, they'll tell you to relax, be cool, this and that. You know, you got this, and they always use these things, these terms to slow you down. Well, you know, you got your family to look after. You have your daughter, you have this and that to keep me docile. No, I'm not. Amped it up, like turned it. The volume is high octane now. What happened to why does my camera keep going out? They don't want y'all to hear this. High octane. And that's how you should be. Don't let anything get in the way of where you're going. Because you're going, see, I told you, chaotic things happen right before you're about to cross the threshold of super success. Yeah, it took a few days to get my head together and all of that stuff. And for the first time in a long time, I went to the movies by myself and enjoyed it, you know? So don't allow anything, even a health event, stop you. Because it's your belief in the illness that will kill you. I'll say it again. It's your belief that it will kill you is what's going to kill you. You're writing your own death certificate. I truly believe we would live forever if it wasn't ever taught to us that we will die. If that wasn't programmed into our consciousness, because we are beings who don't, when you're young, you believe you're immortal. You don't have ideas of thoughts of death until you get older and you start seeing your friends leave and stuff like that. Those things don't even enter your consciousness until you experience it or see it. You have no idea about death or anything until you experience it or cease to see it from the outside of you. And even then, when I was going through this phasing in and out, I wasn't dead. I was alive. My brain had brain activity. I was thinking and all of these, I don't even know how long, but when I just laid down, I was having visions of things, of the world and events and stuff like that and situations as if I was there, a part of it. So I just probably jumping into another dimension, hanging out until in this dimension, that body, that shell could get enough rest for me to jump back into that consciousness. I've I've said this before, and I was watching something earlier, not earlier today, but early in the week that confirmed it. And I've said this years ago. We are multidimensional beings, fulfilling our spiritual journey in different dimensions, on different levels. Now, I will give some thanks to some people. My neighbor, my mom came into town and she stayed with me a day or two. My sons came, and my friend from Miami, he came down and stayed with me a couple of days. The gentleman that I officiated his wedding, he came and stayed with me a couple of days. So I just give thanks to them. So you start to see who's really in your corner when you are really can't do anything for yourself. And in those points, I couldn't. I really couldn't do much for myself. I had to leave it up to people. Then I had a friend who came and stayed with me at the hospital that first night because I had no one there that could stay with me other than that phone call that I made. That's a whole story in itself. We won't get into that. But you see the truth when you're in need, when you need help. You see the truth so clearly, and the answers become so wide open, and there's no need to get offended by how people treat you because acceptance is the key to all suffering. Acceptance is the key to all happiness. Both. See, you got to accept people for what they show you. And once they show you who they are, you believe them. And if you want to stay around for that experience and you want to experience that, stay. If you don't, you move. Get out of there. See, in the chaos, truth is always revealed. Right now, we're living in a very chaotic time. Things is everywhere. People saying this, saying that. It gets confusing. See, the one thing that lies have a problem with, lies, people telling lies, things that are lies, they have a problem with being questioned. They have a problem with being put under a spotlight. This is why religion always failed, because they leave you with a lot of questions that can never be answered under their theology. And when you start questioning that, they tell you to be quiet, move you to the side, and they come up with some fancy answer like, oh, God works in mysterious ways. See, when someone talks to you like that, said God works in mysterious, that means they don't know. Instead of being honest and saying, I don't know the answer to your question, I've been confused with that question all my life. But yet, what they do is support the agenda of creating ignorance and covering it up the truth. You don't know. And the reason why most of them don't know, because they're not spiritual. Most of your religious leaders and preachers, they're not spiritual beings. They're religious beings. They're theologists. They're textbook preachers, meaning they only go and preach what they read and not really expand their consciousness to see maybe there's another answer to this. These answers that I've been giving out all these years, they ain't the truth. They are not the truth, because the truth is very clear cut and it's straight to the point, and it ain't a long story. It is not a long dialogue. The truth gives you the answer right away. The problem is we do not like accepting the truth. So we create narratives in our mind so that we could run from the one thing that is the truth, and we create stories to make ourselves right. But the problem with creating stories, you might feel good with that answer you gave yourself, but then you got to create another story to support that story. And this is how religion has evolved over time. Religion has been the biggest problem, the biggest murderous institution on this planet. They are responsible for more deaths than all of the wars combined on this planet. And why I say they're responsible? Because they're the ones who initiated. People are killing each other, killing people based off beliefs systems that they have adopted as truth. You see, we have to realize, what is the truth? What is the ultimate truth that you need to know that could change your life? To me, it's only one thing. Because from that one thing, everything else gets answered. All the other truths falls in place. And that is, what is the truth? Who are you? Who am I? Know thyself. Who am I? What am I doing here? What am I supposed to be doing? If once you answer that question, get to the answer of that question, which can be a long and tedious and grueling journey, but it will put you on the right path to get to the answers you're looking for. Because as you're asking questions about who I am, and you're not worrying about who that person is and what that person is doing, and you're solely focused on you, you're going to get your answers. And I'm going to have to tell you, those answers don't come in one lifetime. But you have a purpose in this lifetime to fulfill. And if you don't fulfill that purpose in this lifetime, you're going to fulfill it over and over until you fulfill it. And then you move on to the next purpose, the next mission. When you waking up in the morning, you can't figure out, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And you feel like you're lost. That's because you're not looking for your purpose. But in order to look for the purpose, you have to know what am I? God. It's a bold statement. There was a time I would be reluctant to say that. And over the years, I've gotten more bolder. And now I don't care. You are God. I am God. The children are God's. And we have allowed ourselves to be lulled into a spell. Give me a second. I hope y'all guys are hearing me. I ain't getting no text that they can't. So we've allowed ourselves to be lulled into a spell of believing that we are these wretched, sinful beings with no hope other than some savior to come fix our problems. I was listening to a Terrence Howard interview, and I didn't realize he was once a Jehovah's Witness for about 20 years. And he came to the same. See, this is how you know you're on the right path of truth, because you start to listen and see people saying the same thing you're saying. He said, we're God, and we're responsible for fixing our problems. The reason why problems are not getting fixed because we've kicked the can down the road and we want someone else to fix it. We want the politician to fix it. We want the church to fix it. We want the school systems to fix it. We're looking for outside sources to fix the problem, when really the only source or the place you need to look for to fix is within you. You fix the world by fixing you. But here's the funny thing, a conundrum, whatever you want to say, or oxymoron. I don't know. I don't know if I'm using the right terms. I use the term fix. You need to fix yourself. But even that's wrong. You're already fixed. You're already in good. You're already perfect. You're already divine. See, they spent your whole lifetime telling you you was imperfect, and you're gonna make these mistakes. You're gonna do these and you're gonna do that. What if there's no such things as mistakes? What if it's just you marching down your divine path to get to the place where you get to the truth, no matter how tragic it is? See, it takes a real conscious, accept all responsibility person to really get to that point that there are no mistakes. Everything is happening as they should. Why? Because it happened. And you can't go and undo it. Only thing that the problem is you didn't accept what happened. That's what makes it wrong to you. When you say people did you wrong, when I say people do me wrong, no, they did me right. They did things based off how they felt. Now, was it in my favor or to my benefit? No, it may not have been. But they did me right. But the reason why I say they did me right, because it showed me the truth. Isn't that all what we're looking for? The truth? Even in the lie, them telling you a lie, there's the truth. See, you have to remove your emotions from these things, which most people can't do. You have to remove the religious dogma from these things, because religious dogma said there's evil and there's good. There's a difference. No, it's just people doing and doing according to how they feel. Just so happened that what they didn't work for you. Now you have to make the choice how you want to proceed. You want to spend the rest of your life sulking over it, being mad about it and upset about it, or you want to be like, that's a blip in my existence. I told you you're God, so that means you're eternal. That's just a little small blip in your existence, a little small, minute thing in your existence of these situations that happen. Means nothing. And if you don't take yourself that seriously, you could just keep move on and march towards your purpose. See, I know my purpose, so there's nothing at this point that could distract me long enough. And I say that purposefully because yes, I'm not saying you won't get distracted. I was programmed early on to be distracted. So when something shows up that offends me, I was taught to respond back, retaliate, do whatever. But with Christ, when you look at the whole symbolism, the spiritual meaning of his whole sacrifice, they said a lot of things about him. They lied on him. They did all these things, and he still asked God to forgive them because they know not what they do. I'm not saying you can't not to defend yourself. You're gonna have to be a warrior, and you have to be a peaceful warrior, meaning that you got to defend yourself. Yes. So learning how to defend yourself, whether that be verbally, physically, is I believe is necessary. But in certain situations, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to go. Just just move on. Let them be who they are and you be who you are. Let them go. Release yourself from that situation that is not serving you or serving your higher purpose. Release yourself. That's all it takes. Accept and release. So there we have it. That's what happened. I'm like, man, I was telling my mom, I was like, man, all this healthy eating that I promote, I got all these herbs in my cabinet, and here I am dealing with this. I'm not exempt. But it happened to me to wake me up. You think, sometimes you really believe you're awake and you're really not. And then you realize that. See, a highly intelligent, a person who really knows they don't know everything. That's a person who knows that there's more. Now, are you going to be the person who is not going to look to find true answers for yourself? Because I can't give you your answers. I can just guide you in a certain direction, but to give you the truth of who you are, you have to believe that for yourself and look for that within yourself. Nowhere else. You're not going to find it in your car. You're not going to find it in your house. You're not going to find it in your wife, your husband, your friends, your family. You're not going to find it in any of them. That is the issue. We too busy seeking validation because society says these people, wives, husbands, brothers, sisters, mothers, are supposed to do it because they are your family. We hold this grudge, these requirements over their head that they can't even fulfill. Is that fair? No. They just can't fulfill it. But guess what? There's people that can fulfill it. There are people that can feel that, and you don't even have to ask them. Like my friend out of Miami, I didn't have to ask him to come down from Miami. He just got married. He's a newlywed to come down and hang out a couple of days. My boys, I didn't have to ask them to come. My sons, I didn't have to ask them to come see me. I didn't have to ask my mother to come. They just showed up. So anybody that you have to ask, hey, can sometimes if they don't know, you got to tell them. But once they know, and then they, based on how they respond to knowing, tells you where their heart is. Their heart is on them, on what they want to do, their desires. You are secondary. You might even just be a utility. I actually did a consultation while I was in the hospital laying in bed, and the guy was telling me about his family life and all this and stuff. And I said, dude, I know this is upsetting for you to be treated like that. But you have to understand the motivation of people. Once you understand that you were probably just a utility and not someone they really cared for, or they might have had a certain care for you or care about, you're just a useful tool for what they want. It makes it easier to deal with. He's like, yeah, wow, I never thought of that. Yes, you were just a utility. That's the purpose that you had in their life. Nothing else. Not someone they could care about and nurture and bring and take care of. No, utility. So realize that and accept it. It's no need to have grudges and be upset because that's going to slow your spiritual journey down. And that's what it's there for. Those things like that, those situations are there to slow you down. They're there to stop you on your path to keep looking at that instead of moving forward. That's what it's for. Stop looking at the people and who they are and look at the situation and what its purpose is. No matter who it is, stop looking at, oh, well, it's my, no. Look at the situation. Now, in that situation, and they're used as a tool to teach you, oh, learn that lesson and move on and move on from that individual quickly, swiftly. I'm preaching this now, but shoot, in those days, that was a very tough lesson to learn. It's tough. And even now, my mind wants to go into that realm of negativity sometimes. But it's like anything. You practice it long enough, you get stronger. And that's all you can do is just keep practicing that. People want instant results. There's no such thing as instant results. It's practicing this. If I was the same person 15 years ago, was no way I could have this talk with you now. No way. I only get 5 likes. What I'm saying don't mean anything. If you're able to hit the like button, hit the like button. And I'm gonna say something else. Then I might, I got this book. I bought this book right before the event had. Wait a minute. Did I order it while I was in the hospital, or I don't know when I ordered it. I can't remember. So many things. The Book of Enoch. I was reading this, and I'll talk about it in a minute. What was I saying? I kind of lost my train of thought there. Can somebody text me and remind me where I was going? Ancestors, remind me. So look, maybe let me just go. Let me go into this until I can figure it out. I just totally went blank. But the Book of Enoch, I was reading this book, and remember I told y'all long ago, I said the whole situation, how all of this stuff transpired on this planet, was a mutiny. And this book confirms it. This book actually confirms what I said. Thank you for that one person who took me from 5 likes to 6 likes. I know some people, oh, you only got 6 likes. Yeah. See, the world looks at these numbers. I don't look at these numbers. What I look at is the quality of the people that's listening. So, all right. So, chapter 1, it says, the words of the blessing of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect and righteous, who will be living in the day of tribulation when all the wicked and godless are to be removed. And he took up his parable and said, Enoch, a righteous man, whose eyes were opened by God, saw the vision of the Holy One in the heavens, which the angel showed me. And from them I heard everything, and from them I understood as I saw, but not for this generation, but for a remote one, which is for to come. It said a remote one. Then it also said parable, those 2 key words. Concerning the elect, I said, and took up my parable concerning them. The holy great one will come forth from his dwelling, and the eternal God will tread upon the earth, even on Mount Sinai, and appear from his camp, and appear in the strength of his might from the heaven of heavens. And all shall be smitten with fear, and the watchers shall quake, and a great fear and trembling shall seize them unto the ends of the earth. And the high mountains shall be shaken, and the high hills shall be made low, and shall melt like wax before the flame, and the earth shall be rent, wholly rent in sunder. That's WHOLLY. And all that is under the earth shall perish, and there shall be a judgment upon all men. Now, did you see what it just said? It said, and the earth shall be wholly rent in sunder, and all that is upon the earth shall perish. That's what he said. And there should be a judgment upon all men, but with the righteous he will make peace. So this is basically reading like Revelation, right? I could keep going, but I want to get to the part where the watchers, they called them watchers, they came down. Here it is right here. And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them and said to one another, come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men and beget us children. And Semjaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. That was the leader at the time, Semjaza. And they all answered him and said, let us all swear an oath and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. So they sat there and planned this out, even took an oath. So they had a meeting about this mutiny they was about to do, right? Then swear that all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. This is why they can't redeem themselves, because they took an oath to commit this act. To come out of there, what this is saying is heavens. To me, I say they came off their ship and came down here. And they were all 200 who descended into the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon, and they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And these are the names of their leaders: Semiaz, their leader. I mean, they actually give the names of all of them. And his Ramael, Kokabiel, Tamiel, Ramiel, Danel, Ezekiel, Barak Kajal, Azazel, Amaraz, Bet. All of them, most of them have L's at the end of their name. These are their chiefs of tens. And all the others together with them took up unto themselves wives, and each chose for themselves one, and they began to go in unto them to defile themselves with them, and they taught them charms, enchantments, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. Oh, taught them how to deal with roots. And they became pregnant, and they be great giants whose height was 300 L's. What is 3,000 L's? What is 3,000 L's? That's E. What is it? What is it? ELLS. What does that mean? They even give the height: 3,000 ELLS in feet. It's saying 11,250 feet. That's what an L is. Means 11,250 feet. That's a pretty big. That's a pretty big number. But I'm not even gonna go into more of that. I'm every Sunday I'm gonna read some of this and kind of bring out some of these truths. These things these entities we call angels that we are deified are the very entities that came here and caused all of the problems, caused all of the misteachings. All right, where's the chat at? Let's see. Oh, I didn't pull the chat up, see who's in here. See King Pay say peace to everyone above and beyond with Corinne. We'll get back to our show this Thursday coming, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Says happy Sunday. Ronnie Davis says peace, family. Oh, Ronnie Davis said had one in jail not to be played with either. Very serious. Yeah, you're right. Oh, man's racing like an Indy 500. Yeah. He said it felt like a knife in the middle of the chest and you only sip the air in. I didn't have all of that. I could breathe normally and everything. I didn't have that. I had nothing like harder breathing. I just felt like I was worked out a little bit. But as far as harder breathing, no, I didn't have any. Maxwell says mind equal memory. Mind you, yes, good need. Seeking, I was just talking to someone about those names with L on the end. Yeah, this book has a list of all of them. Yep. Yeah, so basically it goes on to this book breaks down what happened, who did it, and the names of who did it. Azazel, uh, it said Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them and bracelets and ornaments and the use of antimony and the beautifying of the eyelids and all kinds of costly stones and all coloring tinctures. Beautifying of the eyelids. That isn't that makeup. What's antimony? Antimony. The chemical element of atomic number 51. Silvery, hard, and brittle. Antimony is used in the electronics industry to make some semiconductor devices such as infrared detectors and diodes. So, okay. So this is saying that they had technology way back when. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. That's basically what it's saying. I'm just reading based on what it said here. Said it was discovered in 1600 BC. Really? No, that's when y'all discovered it. Anyway, y'all do know that most of the history we learn in this country is based off a whitewashed timeline. All of this stuff, this technology we using now was here millions of years ago. And what happens is they're doing their digging and rediscovering, and they taking that stuff and backwards engineering and giving it to you like it's new. That's what's happening. Like like I told you, I went to the movies to see the King Kong Godzilla movie, which is very good movie if you know history of the planet and stuff like that. The one thing Hollywood loves to do with the natives is they'll have all this high technology these natives have at their disposal. But they still walking around with chucking spears. It's so racist. Like this advanced, what they try to say is not advanced, but they're advanced because they had a biological shield, all that stuff there, and but yet they walking around half dressed and with a spear. That's how they see. They want you to believe that these civilizations, these natives, are ignorant. No, the ignorant ones are the ones now. They're ignorant. And you know why I say that? They're ignorant for even trying to put those lies out there and think people are stupid. That's why they come up with the lies. Oh, must have been an alien race that did this and this and that, because they can't figure it out. See, that's how you know people are proud and ignorant and arrogant. Because instead of saying, you know what, I don't know how these highly advanced people did this, they want to believe themselves to be highly advanced. And they're not. They're highly super unintelligent. See, we are basing our adoration for people who are severely handicapped when it comes to intelligence. Oh, I know that was a big one. I told y'all this whole heart attack thing. My mind is firing on all cylinders right now. Another. I was playing an interview of Terrence Howard. I'm gonna give y'all the link to it. Y'all might want to go watch this interview. It's a very good interview, and he shows how he breaks down some things. Let me put this in here. Here it is. Go watch that video. So the whole video is good. Thanks to Ahmed. He sent me that this morning. Oh, Road Warrior said he's gonna make a video on it. Cool, cool. Yeah. All right. With that being said, I'm gonna call it. There's the link to the movie, and one thing I forgot to do. I was while I'm thinking about it. I was talking about this spiritual um masterclass that we're putting together. I have to get back on that and get that done. We tried something else that didn't come out so well. And after this whole incident, I was like, it didn't work because it wasn't supposed to work like that. You need to get back on that spiritual thing, that journey that Corinne introduced. Peace, prosperity, and wealth to all. Yeah, so if they're listening, that we need to focus on that 100%. Get that going. It's really not a lot to do. I just got to fill in some gaps and get that done. That's it. Get that done and and put it out ASAP. All right. All right. With that being said, um, I didn't put it's supposed to be peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all. So, oh, you just got brother. Well, you have to go listen to the recording because I'm about to shut it down. It's 11:05, and the ancestors have stopped speaking to me. So, yeah, I have no more. I'm all empty right now. Until next time, I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Peace. Do you really know yourself? I can put money that most of us really don't know ourselves. We think we know. Because for the most part, we're operating on a lot of pre-programmed information that has hardwired us into making us who we are today. And if you want to be someone new, someone you feel good about, that you can be proud of, you're going to have to let go of the old self and realize that you have been programmed to believe in a false you, the egoic you. You're going to have to believe that in order to change it. See, once you believe and know that you can be something different, you'll be different. In that moment, you were different in that moment with the thought. Now, the thing is holding on to the thought in the belief, maintaining it.